Hey guys, Resident Legal here. So, I just wanted to talk about a subject today that has been brought up online quite often over the past couple of days. Ever since RE4 Remake came out, which was a brilliant game, like probably the second best Resident Evil remake ever made, in my opinion. And what I want to talk about today is the case of Lily Gao, the actress who plays, or I shall say, portrays Ada Wong in the game, of course. So, before the game came out, I've only seen her briefly in that failed movie, Welcome to Raccoon City, which was the worst Resident Evil movie ever made. And I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. It's 100% true. Nobody liked that movie. And she was only seen briefly in the after credit scene, and you couldn't really judge her performance because she was there like basically as a cameo, pretty much like Albert Wesker. Even Albert Wesker in the upcoming RE4 has more screen time than she did in the movie. Nevertheless, she got cast to be in the upcoming RE4 remake. Nobody thought that was going to be a recast, considering how many people like Jolene Anderson, that was her name, I believe, the actress who portrayed Ada Wong in the RE2 remake. And even though maybe even Jolene wasn't considered the best Ada, but fans were overly satisfied with her performance, myself included. Her Ada was smooth, very feminine, very ladylike. But shall I say, I just use the same terms. Yeah. Ladylike and feminine, pretty much the same. But yeah, the point is, everybody liked her despite being a new actress. And I personally hate recasts. It doesn't matter if it's a movie, it's a video game. I really, really hate recasts in general. It doesn't have anything to do with anybody's talent. It's just always a bad idea, in my opinion, especially if you're going to play an iconic character such as Ada Wong or Leon S. Kennedy, Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, you name it. So, it's pretty much what they've done to Chris in RE7. They've hired, because they probably at first they didn't even want to introduce Chris into the game, but then they decided, let's put him in the after credits scene when you beat the game so we can have Chris show up so it can be a mystery. And they've hired an actor who never voiced Chris before. His looks was completely changed, the whole 9 yards. Then in Resident Evil Village, the same voice actor who voiced Carlos Oliveira in Resident Evil 3 Remake, Jeff Shine, got to play Chris in Resident Evil Village. And I also don't like that. I also don't think that, regardless of their talents, actors, one specific actor, should not play two completely different characters within the same video game franchise. I know this is an impossibility, but let's say that Carlos from RE3 Remake and Chris from Resident Evil Village were to meet, and they're voiced by the same actor. And Jeff Shine played both characters he used the completely same voice, his natural voice. So Carlos didn't have an accent when he played him. Carlos sounded American. So basically, it's just one actor voicing two completely different characters within the very same franchise. That's also a bad idea, in my opinion. But, it's the same thing. Like Neil Newbon, who voiced Nikolai, he also got to play Heisenberg in The Village. Nicole Tompkins, who plays Jill in RE3, got to play two killed-off characters in RE Village. Elena was one. The other one was Daniela, one of the witches. And I also don't like that. And I love Nicole Tompkins. She's my favorite Jill Valentine so far in terms of, voiceover performance, but still, I wish she had only played Jill, and I wish somebody else had played those other two pretty much insignificant characters. I just think it's a massive downgrade to go from playing Jill Valentine to just two random NPCs. But overall, I was hoping I'd see Jill Valentine have a cameo in The Village, but of course, I was very disappointed. Anyway, I'm deviating from the subject. So, I want to get back to Lily Gao. So, her performance in Resident Evil 4 Remake wasn't well received. Myself included, I did not like her performance. I think the delivery of her lines is rather wooden. Her voice sounds way too mature. There's not much seductiveness to her character, to the character of Ada Wong that she's presenting to us. On the other hand, I am glad that an Asian actress got the voice an Asian character. I think it should be that for the most part, but surprisingly, a lot of characters that are of completely different skin color voice a character from a video game. Perfect example, Christopher Judge from God of War. And he was brilliant, so it doesn't always matter. Like, you can be of different race and voice a character. People are usually not going to be able to tell the difference. So, yeah, overall, she felt so offended that she decided to completely pull herself away from social media, especially Instagram. Like, she had posts. I wasn't following her, but maybe once in passing I saw she had photos of herself and everything. And the only post that she decided to leave present on her page is this. And I'm gonna read this because it's so cringe, and it actually makes me think less of Lily Gal, you know. But I'm just gonna read it because it's just so cringe. So, the role of privilege. For many members of the majority culture, those who identify as white in the United States, being made aware of one's classification as linked to privilege is likely not a common or welcomed experience. Indeed, many people have never been asked or required to reflect on their own privileged status, and in regards to racial identity, doing so might feel uncomfortable or even discordant with the common. I'm gonna have to look that word up. I'm an English teacher. How fucking embarrassing. I don't know what that means. I'm sure it's nothing good. Common with narrative regarding social and political changes over the years. For example, white Americans may attach the concepts of progress towards equality or being colorblind as mitigating privilege. As a result, many white Americans either may not be aware of or may avoid considering how simply being white confers special status or experiences, potentially to the detriment of others, while many Americans may not view themselves as privileged because of their economic or social status. The advantage of being in the majority racial group is real, even if often hidden. Self-reflection questions. Wildman and Davis, 1995, explain that the lives we lead affect what we're able to see and hear in the world around us. As such, an important first step to understanding the concept of group-based privilege and how it can shape people's perspectives, experiences, and interactions is to examine our own experience. We can be the beneficiary of privilege without recognizing or consciously perpetuating it. Learning to see one's own privilege, as well as that of groups and systems, can create an important pathway to self-discovery. Some questions to consider are listed. This is like so many words. Like, I would have written something like this in a way simpler manner so younger people could understand better. Number 1. When was the time? When was the last time you had to think about your ethnicity, race, gender identity, ability level, religion, and or sexual orientation? What provoked you to think about it or acknowledge it? Number 2. When watching TV or a movie, how likely are you to watch shows whose characters reflect your ethnicity, race, gender, ability level, religion, gender identity, and or sexual orientation? Well, to that, I have to say, I don't remember the last time I saw a commercial that features white people only, so fuck, I think that's been fucking decades ago. Anyway, moving on. 3. Well, when using social media, how diverse is your feed? How diverse are your friends and your followers? How diverse are those that you follow? So if you don't follow a lot of black people, you're clearly a white supremacist, or you don't like people that are not particularly white, like I'm assuming that you are. I'm not pretending to be Lily, but it's just some guy who's reading it, but it's just so ridiculous. How do you respond? How do you bloody respond when others make negative statements towards individuals of a different ethnicity, race, gender, ability level, religion, sexual orientation, and or gender identity than yourself? This is already boring the shit out of me, but I'm gonna go through with it. Well, how often do you go to social settings where the majority of individuals are of a different ethnicity, race, gender, ability level, religion, sexual orientation, and of gender identity yourself? It's like the same fucking question repeating itself over and fucking over again. How diverse is the community in which you 7. 7. How do you feel when you are in a community that is different in your own neighborhood? Well, I feel like I walked into another neighborhood, and for as long as it's not late at night, I guess I'll feel safe, regardless of whoever the fuck lives in an area like that. I think it's important to know where you're moving around, regardless which ethnicities live in a particular neighborhoods. For your own fucking safety, that's just my opinion. But, okay, whatever. Off to number 8. How would you make your neighborhood more inclusive and sensitive? Well, it may become more inclusive and sensitive depending on who lives in my neighborhood. I can't just force fucking people to move into my neighborhood and just, come and let's make it more. Let's put more Asian people here, even though Asian people may not want to fucking live within my own group of people. Whoever they may be, black, white, who gives a fuck, right? Some people choose to segregate from other people. Take Japan, for example. Like, over 95% of people of Japan are Japanese. They don't like to mix with other races because that's just their choice. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people just choose to live like that. To each their own, I guess. And 9. If you recognized your privilege, what did you do with this realization? Okay, well, I'm going to pretend like I'm speaking to Lily right now. And I was born as a straight white male. I'm a fully European guy of one nationality. I'm a Slavic Serbian. And I grew up in pretty decent household. I have had great parents. I still do. I have a brother and a sister. My brother is mentally challenged. My sister's, scraping to get by because the economical situation in my country is really harsh. I was lucky enough to immigrate into the United States after I won the green card lottery. And even though I've been white, obviously all my life in Serbia wasn't always great. I've survived the war in my country. So a lot of different countries bombed my country. The entire fucking NATO alliance bombed it. I could have been killed many times. Bombs were one night bomb fell so close to my house. So there's that. And also there were times when I was bullied at school. Like, I understand she minds the negative criticism that she receives, but I was bullied at school too. My life in America hasn't been easy since I've immigrated because of the COVID situation. And actually, now in modern world, in my opinion, if you, want to fill your resume or you want to apply for a job, and if you actually signify that you're Caucasian, in a place like Los Angeles where I live, you're not going to have great odds of particularly, you may get the job, but there are chances that you won't if the people who you are applying for work, people whose company you're applying to work for, if they are looking to make their space more diverse, and they're probably going to hire people of different ethnicities, people particularly black and not particularly Asians, because Asians get discriminated as, Asians are discriminated in terms of college applications. It happens often, you have affirmative action in America, so that works actually in favor of particularly African American race and various Hispanic races. So, there's the injustice there when it comes to comparison to, Caucasian people and Asian people getting the same opportunities for education. So, it's never perfect, and every system is flawed. And despite the fact that I disagree with Lily and her statement here, this is the only thing she decided to keep on her, Instagram account that she probably no longer even uses. I mean, this is probably of major significance since she decided. So I'm sure that she's blaming white people for all the hatred that she receives. I just hope that she's not so narrow-minded into thinking that only white people have negatively criticized her performance, is Ada Wong. Because that's just fucking nonsense. I live in LA. It's one of the most diverse cities I've ever lived in, and I've lived in 3 different continents, and I'm just saying, I come across more people who are African Americans or Hispanic than, primarily Caucasians in LA, because it's a very diverse city, and I like that. It's not a problem at all. and I socialize with all people. And that's great, I don't mind it. But the thing that I really find irritating is that, people are always bringing up this, hatred towards white people, which is justified, that white people are the only race you can, like, discriminate in some ways. I don't think she's directly discriminating white people, but her article, the one she decided to keep, is primarily targeting whites. I mean, it's about white privilege. It's not about any other privilege. And it's kind of interesting because it doesn't matter that people don't like her performance. That doesn't change the fact that she's made it into the world of show business. She did movies. She did a video game that's a major success. She's made money off of this game. It doesn't matter. If the whole world hates her, it doesn't matter. She's made money. She should be happy. The game is a major success. I was never a huge fan of Resident Evil 4. It's not even my top 3 favorite RE games, but it's a great game. I've had a lot of fun playing it. I'm on my 3rd playthrough. I'm playing it slowly every time. Yeah, I can't get past the fucking B rating because I play it so slowly. I don't want to rush it. I fucking love it so much that, it's fun to unlock weapons. I think the best thing about Resident Evil 4 is that it has so much content. That's something most RE games lack. And it's actually way more fun for me to play a game like RE4 at a slow pace. And her character doesn't really, appear that much in the main story, but I guess fans are concerned that when Separate Ways DLC comes out, and it's going to come out, it's been confirmed. Mercenaries are, I think coming out tomorrow. So they're afraid that her performance there is not going to be any better. Okay, valid point. But, it's wrong that some people are saying nasty shit. It's not. I mean, it's wrong. It's rude. It's not something that's nice. You're being a dickhead. Sometimes if you don't have anything nice to say, maybe try to criticize, but like in a more decent way. Don't be a complete scumbag. I mean, I've left some nasty comments online. I've left some decent comments. Like, we're all sinners. We're not perfect. I personally, I've seen way worse voice acting. It's not just the voice. I just think her voice doesn't fit the character, like the tone of her voice. I do think she can, deliver the line in a faithful, manner that you would say, okay, but like the way she fits Ada Wong in this game it's not fitting. Some lines feel wooden, not all of them, but like the delivery is just plain. You just feel like that somebody's reading lines off a fucking Google Translate or some shit. I don't know. I feel like if she were in a booth, she wasn't, because some actors, like, they act inside the booth when they're recording because it makes them, perform better. I feel like she was just reading the lines while she was, delivering them. Not all of them, but like some. But, yeah, overall, I can sympathize with the fact that, she was somewhat bullied, but she also has to understand that the internet is the place where everybody has a voice, and not everybody's going to be your fan, and it's just how it is. I mean, I do for fun voice acting. I mimic other accents, and I just do it for the fun of it, right? And I was like applying for geez, why am I failing to express myself right now? So I was doing a casting for a video game, right? Online, and I record my own lines. I do it in a different way, and there are times when I say, oh, this line fucking sucked. I sucked. Sometimes I do it. Oh, now it's better. Oh, now it's the best. Sometimes, and I get shortlisted a lot of times. Some even people on the other side, like some people, they like some of my lines. They don't like some the other ones. That's fine. And I don't know why the previous actress Jolene Anderson wasn't able to reprise the role. Maybe she has too much money. I'm just speculating that that doesn't have to be the case, or maybe schedule conflicts. Anyway, she was a better Ada, in my opinion, and, but overall, it is what it is. I think the casting directors should be the ones to, blame. If you want to blame somebody, don't blame the actress who got the fucking gig. She got the gig because she got the gig. She auditioned, like, I'm sure 20 more actresses next to her, and they said for some reason, you know what, maybe it would be cool that she was also Ada in the movie, so we can kind of do that. Maybe they thought she maybe has more experience playing Ada Wong because she played her in the movie. And, they've made the choice, and it's like that, so that's fine. And she got the part. I didn't like her. Different people didn't like her. But still, it is what it is. But overall, I'm just amazed. Like, I remember I was super hyped when Resident Evil 3 Remake was announced. That was the biggest hype of my life. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis will forever be the game I consider the best within the entire franchise. It's a little underrated game, but it's definitely my favorite. And I was so disappointed when the game came out, how the story was completely flipped around, changed. It was completely backwards. The content was severely cut. The game didn't turn out great for the most part. I still had fun playing it, but I love Nicole Tompkins as Jill, and I really hope that in the upcoming movie, which will finally feature the return of Jill Valentine, Death Island, the upcoming animated movie, that she will be the one to reprise the part. I really hope that they did not recast her, because I am against recast. I don't want it. Stick to the actors you've primarily picked, and that's how it should be. I mean, I don't understand why would you cast somebody else to play, because they're obviously using Jill Valentine's Resident Evil 3 Remake appearance model, so her face, even the outfit, everything. That's the Jill from the RE3 Remake, played by Nicole Tompkins, so it makes sense to me that Nicole would voice her. However, in a video game, Dead by Daylight, she's like a DLC character, but that game is not canon. It's just a fucking arcade game, I guess. Looks like Jill from RE3 Remake, but it's voiced by a different voice actress. And I'm afraid that's going to happen in the movie, that Nicole won't get to voice her. But I guess I'll have to wait and find out. Anyway, not to make this too long, I do sympathize with Lily Gao, but she also needs to grow up and understand that just because people don't like you, you shouldn't turn so rebellious and decide to remove yourself from the situation by, leaving just one note on your Instagram channel and pretty much blaming white people and white privilege. That's just not cool in my opinion, because how does she know that all the people that don't like her are white? Maybe the people who don't like her are Asian, like her. Are they white privileged? Are black people, they're spared because they're not white, so white privilege doesn't, reflect on them? It's just dumb. It seems immature to me, because when people don't like me, I say, well, they don't like me. For example, it's how it goes. I'm not going to hate on people for not liking me in some aspects. But, yeah, I think her, attitude was rather immature. I mean, what she did when she decided to remove herself from the situation. But I guess some people can't handle negative criticism. But I agree. I mean, some criticism can be toxic. And I'm sorry that maybe this emotionally distressed her, so to speak. But it's how it goes. So yeah, somebody's calling me. I'm going to have to cut this short. Thank you guys for watching.